This presentation will focus on the key learning theory of behaviorism and how it can be implemented in the classroom. This presentation will highlight the strengths and weaknesses of this approach and where I feel it can be used most effectively in our school. This approach will be of most benefit when working with our students with special needs. Sound teaching methods do not come naturally, and although some teaching skills seem obvious, they are easier to point out than to put into practice. Therefore, I will also outline how this theory can be put into practice in the classroom. Some believe that behaviorism is an outdated theory, as it implies that children will only act in a particular manner for fear of punishment or reward. Others argue that behaviours induced by extrinsic rewards are short-lived and only stay current whilst the reward is in place. It is my personal belief that these opinions are true in some regard. However, there are definite benefits to adopting and applying behaviour theory when working with students with special needs. This is a belief that has been supported in the literature, with research showing positive outcomes for students with learning difficulties when behaviour theory has been used as a classroom methodology. I believe that students with special needs learn best when they are provided with structure and routine, when their work is broken into small, manageable segments, and when they are allowed time to process, practice, and review. A major feature of behaviour theory is that people are motivated by extrinsic rewards, and learning is promoted by external reinforcements. Skinner theorized and conducted experiments to prove that when a reward or reinforcement follows a response to a particular stimulus, it is more likely that the response will be repeated in the future. This feedback system is known as operant conditioning. A reinforcement can be defined as an action, arranged or otherwise, that serves to strengthen the preceding behaviour. In the classroom, this feedback loop could look like this. Students take part in a classroom discussion. The discussion is facilitated by the classroom teacher. The teacher asks questions of the students. That would be the stimulus. Students answer the questions. That would be the response. A teacher immediately responds in a positive and encouraging manner to the student who answered the question. That would be the reinforcement. With positive reinforcement, students will be more likely to contribute to the discussion. Linjani highlights research that direct instructional approaches have had positive effects on students with learning difficulties. In particular, Linjani explores the following: the breaking down of activities into smaller, more manageable tasks, modelling, practice and review, fast-paced lessons with reinforcement and feedback, and predictability instructions. Task analysis is the breaking down of a larger task into smaller, more manageable tasks. A practical example of how this could look in the classroom would be when teaching subtraction. Students could use a tens card. In behaviorism, prompting is considered a hint or additional stimulus that is provided to elicit the desired response. The prompts would be both written and verbal. Put on the first number. Second, take off the second number. 3, count them all. 4, write down the total. Will be prompted as needed, but prompts would decrease as the students developed in competence. Modelling can also be used as a prompt where required. Modelling is a type of prompting that involves actually demonstrating the activity, similar to what I've just done then. Practice and review. Linjani discusses the benefits of practice and revising when working with students with special needs. This is based on the fact that students with special needs benefit from overlearning because of their memory problems and difficulty processing information. In practice, this should see us continuing a learnt activity after learning has ceased, in order to ensure mastery of the task. This continuation of an activity is referred to as maintenance. Fast-paced lessons with feedback and reinforcement. The idea of fast-paced lessons is again focusing on task analysis, with monitoring and reinforcement throughout the lesson. An example of this would be asking the students to complete a short essay analysing the themes of their favourite movie. The students would not be required to complete the task as a whole, but rather in smaller parts. Firstly, students identify the themes of the film, then review with the teacher to ensure that the themes they selected were relevant. The teacher will provide reinforcements at this stage. The next task could be describe examples of the themes within the film. Again, This step is reviewed by the teacher before the students move on to the next task. The idea behind this process being students gain confidence and skill development through the process. The final tool that I think we should take away from this discussion is that of predictability. Students with special needs will generally achieve better when their lessons are structured and predictable. When lessons are predictable, students are able to focus on the new material being taught. I believe that these points highlighted today will assist in the education of our students with special needs, but I'm sure that some of you have concerns. For example, changes brought about by extrinsic motivation can be temporary, behaviorism denies agency, and controlling approaches in teaching treat children as though they are irrational or ignorant. Let's deal with these potential issues separately. Firstly, students will be extrinsically rewarded with praise and other external motivators where required. Furthermore, reinforcement is only one aspect of this approach. All other aspects of this approach will act together to ensure the learning is meaningful and lasting. Secondly, students will not be denied agency or treated as though they are irrational or ignorant. Students will still be able to partake in discussions and have meaningful input into the classes. However, evidence does suggest that explicit and direct instruction teaching methods provide a solid ground for students with special needs. Finally, we will focus on reinforcement, not punishment. According to James Hartley, reinforcement is the cardinal motivator. Positive reinforcers like rewards and successes are preferable to negative events like punishments and failures. This presentation has focused on the key learning theory of behaviorism and how it can be implemented in the classroom. Evidence suggests that this method can be implemented best when working with children with special needs. Thank you very much for your time.